Meta's infrastructure VP just dropped a bombshell. We have maybe 20 months to completely rebuild our enterprise systems for AI agents. This isn't just an upgrade, it's a total overhaul. Meanwhile, Microsoft patched nearly 600 vulnerabilities in a single day thanks to AI. What do these stories mean for your product, your infrastructure, and what you should be building right now? No BS AI briefing brought to you by Proactive AI. Welcome back. I'm your host, Vikash Sharma, and this is where builders get straightforward AI news without the fluff. Alright, let's dive into some high signal items that hit this week. First up, we're hearing a strong warning from inside Meta. Their infrastructure VP, Barak Yagour, recently told VentureBeat that enterprise infrastructure, as we know it, is simply not compatible with the kind of intense, unpredictable workloads that AI agents are going to demand. He gave a pretty stark timeline, suggesting companies have maybe 20 months to fundamentally rebuild their capacity, identity, and velocity systems. In plain English, this means the way we've built our backend systems, from how we balance requests to how we authenticate users and move data. It's all optimized for humans, or at least for predictable human-like traffic patterns. Agents don't behave like that. For builders, the critical takeaway here is that if you're planning for agents, you need to prioritize agent-aware resource allocation, rethink identity, and design for real-time streaming data from the ground up. If your roadmap doesn't have an infrastructure overhaul for agents, it might be time for a serious adjustment. Next, something remarkable from Microsoft that highlights the practical power of AI in an unexpected domain: security. TechCrunch reported that Microsoft just patched a record number of security vulnerabilities in a single day, 5 or 70 to be exact, including 2 0 days. They openly cited their use of AI for surfacing these issues, especially in vast amounts of legacy code. This isn't just about finding bugs faster, it means AI scanning is now a core part of their operational security. For builders, this is a clear signal. AI driven security scanning isn't a futuristic concept, it's table stakes today. If you're not integrating sophisticated AI tools into your CI/CD pipelines to proactively detect and patch vulnerabilities, you're going to be behind. Patch cycles are tightening, and the expectation for secure by default software is only rising. Also, on our radar, we're seeing AI agents move into advisory workflows, and a company called Arist is leading the charge here. VentureBeat reported that Arist just launched voice-based AI diagnostic agents specifically for enterprises. Imagine an AI performance consultant that can conduct employee interviews at scale, all via voice. It then integrates with your existing HR and productivity tools to output actionable insights in minutes. This isn't a chatbot, it's an autonomous agent tasked with a specific complex diagnostic function. For builders, this demonstrates a powerful new frontier for agents. They're no longer just for customer service, they're moving into sensitive, high-value domains like HR and operational consulting. If you're building in this space, you must prioritize privacy, consent, and explicit trust mechanisms. The ethical and practical considerations here are huge, but so is the potential to really challenge traditional, bloated consulting models. Another high signal item points to a fundamental constraint in the AI race: power. Intrinsic Power recently announced the first close of its seed financing round to optimize AI data center electricity. VentureBeat covered their mission: developing an AI powered platform to optimize electrical flow in data centers, aiming to boost both capacity and resilience. Now, this might seem far from your daily code, but think about it: training bigger models, running more inference, scaling agents. It all takes massive amounts of electricity. Power isn't just a cost factor, it's a top level constraint on everything from the size of models you can run to the latency of your services and the ultimate availability of your AI products. For builders, understanding that energy efficiency and grid resilience are becoming critical infrastructure concerns directly affects your long-term cost models and your ability to scale. Keep an eye on innovations here. They'll determine the limits of what's possible. Finally, a strong signal for those building in edtech. Google.org and Renaissance Philanthropy have opened a global request for information, an RFI, for AI in K-12 assessment. Opportunities for Youth reported on this, indicating they're actively seeking innovative AI approaches to transform static, high-stakes tests into continuous learning insights. Submissions are due July 31st. This is big because it's a clear mandate backed by serious funding to move beyond just grading tests to actually enhancing the learning process with AI. For builders, this is a green light for developing ethical, low stakes assessment systems. It's a call to action to use AI not just to automate, but to truly transform how students are understood and supported in their learning journeys. If you're in EdTech, this RFI is worth a look. It signals a big shift in what funders and institutions are ready to support. All right, let's take a deep dive into that first story because I think it's the most important for builders this week. Meta's infrastructure VP warning us we have maybe 20 months to rebuild for AI agents. What happened here? Barak Yagour, who oversees a colossal amount of infrastructure at Meta, isn't just saying we need to upgrade our servers. He's articulating a profound architectural shift. He's telling us that the enterprise infrastructure we've built over decades, the one that handles web requests, user logins, and database queries, it's inherently incompatible with the demands of autonomous AI agents. Our systems are built for humans, or at least human scale interaction. Agents, on the other hand, are a completely different beast. They operate at machine speed, make their own decisions, spawn countless subtasks, parallelize work across different services, and generate highly unpredictable traffic patterns. Why does this matter right now? Well, because most of us, myself included, have been bolting AI capabilities onto our existing human centric stacks for the last couple of years. We've added API calls to LLMs, built RAG systems, and perhaps even started experimenting with simple agents. But these early systems still largely sit on top of infrastructure designed for predictable web traffic, stable user sessions, and well defined API endpoints. Agents break all those assumptions. They don't just send one request, they might initiate a cascade of hundreds of requests to different services simultaneously, authenticate as a programmatic entity, and demand real time data streaming without a human in the loop. This shatters conventional load balancing, authentication mechanisms, data pipelines, and monitoring tools. It's not just a performance issue, it's a fundamental mismatch in design philosophy. So, who should really care about this? Honestly, everyone who's building or leading a tech product, founders need to see this as a massive greenfield opportunity. If the fundamental infrastructure needs a rebuild, that means entirely new categories of tools and services will emerge to support agent native systems. Product managers need to bake this infrastructure reality into their roadmaps. You can't just assume your current backend will scale. Engineering leaders, especially those responsible for infrastructure, face the most direct challenge. You're looking at a complete architectural overhaul, not just iterative improvements. And indie hackers, this is your moment. Niche tools for agent aware identity, dynamic resource allocation, or intelligent traffic management could be prime targets for rapid adoption or even acquisition. This isn't just for the hyperscalers, it's for everyone shipping products. How would I think about this as a builder? I'd approach it like planning for a completely new species of user. Imagine if suddenly, instead of millions of humans browsing your app, you had millions of highly autonomous, hyper fast, programmatic entities interacting with your backend, each potentially spawning dozens of sub entities. What breaks first? Your load balancers, because they can't handle the burstiness or the sheer number of simultaneous programmatic sessions. Your authentication system, because traditional user passwords or OAuth flows are clunky for non human entities. Your data pipelines, because agents often need continuous real time data feeds, not just request response cycles. The opportunity is to design agent first now. Think about native agent identity and roles, fine grained access control for programmatic entities, and infrastructure that can dynamically scale and route agent traffic based on task priority rather than just raw load. If you're not thinking about it this way, retrofitting later will be incredibly costly and fragile. My Nobius take on this. The 20-month horizon Meta mentions is a potent warning, not a rigid deadline, but the underlying challenge is absolutely real. This isn't hype, it's a fundamental architectural shift. We're going to see a lot of agent ready marketing claims in the next year or two, but builders need to validate these rigorously. Don't fall for superficial fixes. Focus on true architectural changes that enable portability and granular control. The future isn't just about bigger models, it's about the infrastructure that allows intelligent agents to operate at scale, securely, and efficiently. If you want one practical takeaway from today's episode, especially after that deep dive on agent infrastructure, here it is. Experiment. Audit your infrastructure for agent readiness. This isn't about buying new hardware. It's about a thought experiment you can conduct in under 60 minutes with your team. Here's how to try it in under 60 minutes. First, grab a whiteboard or a shared digital drawing tool. Diagram your core application's request path all the way from the load balancer through your authentication layer into your APIs and finally to your database or data store. Draw out this typical human user flow. Then, for each step, ask, what if 10x the number of requests came from autonomous agents instead of humans, each operating with its own identity and potentially spawning subtasks? Identify the first bottleneck you predict would break, whether it's your API gateway, your database connection pool, or your authentication service. Second, pick just one quick fix or architectural adjustment you could explore to address that first bottleneck in an agent aware way. For example, if it's authentication, could you implement short lived programmatic tokens with very specific scopes? If it's load balancing, could you explore agent specific routing rules or dynamic pooling? Don't try to solve everything, just identify one critical point and one potential agent friendly approach. Why is this specific experiment worth your time right now? Because it forces you to think beyond current human centric assumptions. It's not about building a full agent infrastructure tomorrow, but about surfacing the critical architectural differences before they become urgent, costly problems. This kind of proactive thinking will give your team a significant strategic advantage as the agent economy accelerates. That's it for today's No BS AI briefing. If this helped, follow the show in your podcast app and share it with one builder you know. And if you've got questions or topics you want covered, connect with me on LinkedIn and send them over. See you in the next briefing.